You see the bird? Yeah.
Well, Charles, we're here to talk about the plenipotentiary of pure stupidity, the president of dumb, Mr. Moron, Joe Biden.
And a great poster from the art department. Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's as if in the last 24 hours or so, people at the Washington Post and the New York Times have decided to watch back episodes of Sunday with Charles and Closing In. I mean, because they're now basically saying, I think on the Sunday shows they're saying that the Biden administration is rudderless and does not have the ability to, quote, seize the moment and understand the urgency of the moment and declare a national health emergency. So in theory, he can counter the impact of the Supreme Court ruling, the Dobbs ruling, and other rulings. And it's just, I mean, you listen to that and you say, you guys in the press rooms and the editorial boards of these places are so fucking stupid. Because, I mean, first of all, we saw this a long time ago in 2020 before the election. The impact of Google and Twitbird and Facebook and the mainstream media to not merely promote an idiot like Biden, but more importantly to silence valid criticism of Biden, to promote, on the other hand, absurd conspiracy theories about the Trump administration and the Russian collusion delusion. And now even it's come to light that we're seeing more and more peer-reviewed studies that in certain countries, for example, there have been more vaccine-related deaths than the unmentionable disease deaths. So I didn't bring it up.
No, I hear you. I mean, some family of mine went to visit Israel, and these were people who didn't want me to go to a family event because of something to do with having or not having something. And then they just came back from Israel having something.
Right, having taken the vaccine, right? So,
but before we get too heavily into this, Charles, I'm sorry I was so distracted when you started. You know exactly why. There was a whole lot of crap going over here that got us a little bit of a late start, but here we are, back to the lightweight configuration. And,
well done, in the shade.
With our additional news input and all that kind of thing. But we're here outside Shitbird headquarters.
Right.
Because Elon Musk has jettisoned the deal. Should we walk and talk about it a bit
Absolutely.
here?
Yeah,
So,
I'd just like to point out as well that it's not humid, it's cool.
It's cool.
I'm actually feeling a little cold, which is why I've got an undershirt on.
Oh.
I'm kidding. But I'm fine, and last week I was fine. I was just overheated and underhydrated.
Yeah.
So I'm in good shape.
We're learning some of the quirks of this new sound system and some of its related issues.
So just to go back, and I know it's a long time ago that I did this, but I did a lot of it. And when I was doing deals, not as big as obviously the Twitter deal back in the 80s and 90s, every single public deal I ever worked on that had any kind of media attention, and there were quite a few of them, the media always got the analysis wrong. And it was where I basically, let's cross the street.
Okay, sure.
It's where I basically, decided not to read the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal anymore, because I figured if I'm in the room and I know what's going on with a business deal, and I open up the Wall Street Journal and they say sources close to the deal say this and say that, and it's all rubbish.
Yeah.
It's rubbish on many counts, because sources close to the deal are not supposed to be talking to the press.
Right.
You can't be that close to the deal if you're blabbing. It's against the law in certain cases. So I would caution people as they think about what may be going on with Twitter, focus on substance. Focus on,
Focus on Substack?
I will talk about that in a second, but on substance, which is specifically, is at the deal price of north of 50, is that a price that is justifiable? Does that make any kind of sense? To put it in perspective, people, particularly green people, and perhaps you, I'm not saying you're not green, but you may not hate Dow Chemical for good reasons. But you could buy Dow Chemical stock for, I checked this morning, at PE less than 6.
Wow.
You could buy Ford Motor Company at like 9. Why would you buy
Yeah, it was
Twitter?
like 10 or 11 or
9,
something.
10 or whatever it is, but why would you buy Twitter at north of 100 or whatever the number is? It just doesn't make any sense. That's the first issue. The second issue, and even if you want to subscribe to views that crazy people reporting, like Charles Gaspagarino.
Is he?
You'll have, he always tries to get close to and has a lot of friends on Wall Street and investors who have points of view, and he's very good at kind of saying, well, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that, and I have an informant who said something else. What other people say is irrelevant. You should be able to figure out yourself as an investor, is this a good deal or a bad deal? And if you can't do that, you probably shouldn't be investing. So anyway, so the first step is to focus on the substance. The next step is, if you really want to understand what's going on in the deal, go on to SEC Edgar, which is the public database where you can read the filings that have to be made current in a deal like this that's in the public domain. And I didn't get it off Edgar, so I got it some other way, but we have a letter, the letter that Musk's lawyers, a team of lawyers maybe, sent to the Twitter management and board, explaining why Musk's offer is off the table. And it's a completely legitimate reason to walk. And the reaction, I don't know who this guy Taylor is, the chairman of the board of Twitter, but but he's a moron.
He's going to sue to force you to buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you walk into the car dealership and you say, okay, I'll buy this car.
It blows
and
up.
They give it to you and there's only 4 cylinders and it's supposed to be 8, and you're like, wait a minute. I'm like, we're going to sue you to buy this thing.
Right, exactly. It's just, it's silliness on many levels, because unless it's the January 6th committee, where the defendant has effectively no rights under the way they're trying to run this charade, Musk will have a right to defend himself in this lawsuit, and in doing so, he'll have a right to compel testimony. And if the Twitter board wants to have an extended public discussion about bots,
about how their software is screwed up in myriad ways that we don't yet know.
right, and I don't think that'll help anybody. More to the point, Taylor, unless maybe he's a multi-billionaire himself, but to hire lawyers to sue Musk, somebody's got to pay for that. And you've got to demonstrate that it's in the best interest of shareholders to hire these expensive lawyers to go down a track that can't win, in my opinion. So, really, I have to say I have mixed views about this, because I really enjoy tweeting. I tweeted out a fair amount today already, and I've actually gotten to know people via Twitter, particularly media types. And so I sincerely hope that Twitter doesn't go completely out of existence, but I think there's a chance that it might.
I agree with you, and I think that there was another big deal made in that Donald Trump.
That was a mistake. But before we get to Trump, let's you want to go this way, or do you want to go?
Sure.
Okay. So let's just focus a little bit on Twitter, and the real issue that Twitter has, which doesn't involve Musk so much as it involves the SEC and regulators at state and international level. What Musk is in effect pointing out, or his advisors is pointing out, is that the financial filings, which have to be true and accurate and cannot be materially misleading, that are circulating in the public domain regarding historical periods are false. And every day that they're false and out there, people are trading when trading is permitted. And so the SEC and other regulators have a duty, once it comes to their attention that these filings are materially false, not only to jump on Twitter, but I think to jump into any of these big mega plays that rely on online advertising.
Daily monetizable users.
Right, like Google, like Facebook, and others. I mean, Twitter isn't the only entity that's likely allowing fake accounts to be registered, and then, as Musk's team seems to allege, inflating the usage and the market penetration of this key advertising source, which has grown, I think, within the global advertising industry. Online advertising
It's the thing.
It's just, it's a go-to thing, and it's become, I think, a majority of certain types of advertising, which means that on the one hand, the online advertising companies have perhaps illegally created value for themselves, but on the other hand, the mainstream, the traditional legacy advertisers, the Omnicoms, things like that,
they're out of business.
They've
now.
been damaged. Well, maybe they've been damaged. So there's all kinds of legal liability here, and lawyers as we know, like to sue. And there are a lot of deep pockets here who are going to have to defend themselves, and others who may want to go on the attack. So watch this space carefully.
I think Elon Musk knew what he was doing when he started this, and I think, as I said a long time ago, Twitter needs to play ball with him. It's Musk or Husk, and I have a feeling he's going to destroy that place. But I do want, if we can, to talk about what I think was a big mistake. Donald Trump calls Elon Musk a bullshit artist. I mean, this is like Chris Christie telling somebody to go lose weight.
Or, Bill Clinton volunteering to give Andrew Cuomo advice on how to deal with a sex scandal allegation.
Yeah, ask him what his means.
It
always works.
Lie under oath, work for me.
But former President Donald Trump at a Save America campaign-style rally on Saturday called Tesla's CEO Elon Musk a bullshit artist after he pulled out of a deal to buy Twitter. One of our highest priorities under a Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship. Bullshit artist alert. He should have done it when he was the president.
I know. That was one of those things that you say when you're shooting from the hip, and you say it, and then you say, oh my God, did I just say that? And then you have to make a decision. Do you walk it back and look stupid, or do you let it out there and stay stupid?
Well, it's too late. You've pissed off Elon Musk, because he also made comments about Elon Musk said that he's never voted for a Republican. Trump said that Elon Musk told Trump that Elon Musk voted for Trump. So now he's, defying the confidence of somebody who told him something, trying to make the guy look like an ass in public. I think he definitely just lost any support from Elon Musk that he might have had. And he irritated many people on his base who want the First Amendment.
Portuguese coffee, that's interesting.
On Twitter.
Never seen a Portuguese coffee and tea shop before. Let's let this guy go, Jason.
Yeah. But, the other problem, Charles, is that arguably it was, he's taking a dig at a competitor, because now we've also got this whole dust up with an investigation into Trump media acquisition, or the SPAC that's merging with it, or whatever that is. And they just keep saying that, no, it's not true, that Trump...
Want to go up there on the highway?
Sure.
So we avoid
There's a stair right there we can take. But that was a pretty bad move by Trump.
Well, and also to go, I get endless emails from members of the Trump family and this committee and that matching thing and whatever. And urgent friend, you're needed. Do you want to go to the Alaska Trump rally today? Like, no.
Alaska? Yeah, he's doing one in Alaska.
I'm saying it was yesterday.
Oh, is this closed?
No, it's open right there.
Oh, I didn't realize that was in Alaska.
Yeah.
When I heard about
there was another one in Las Vegas. It may have been the one you're talking about. I don't know, but there's one in that.
Oh yeah, that's what No, I think the Alaska one.
It says exit only. Jason.
Well, we could be like Led Zeppelin and go in through the outdoor, but you don't like that, so we'll go to the regular entrance.
Yeah. I think I just don't want to go up.
When I heard that he was doing a thing in Alaska,
you're like,
great. I thought
another thing not to go to.
Well, I thought Putin would go because somebody in Russia said we're going to take back Alaska.
I suggested we just give Alaska to Russia, except they got a lot of oil and gas there.
Yeah, why do that?
I'd rather give give Manhattan back to the Indians or to the Dutch. That would really piss off all those people. Let them all go to Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket in 1 August, and then say, by the way, we gave the island on which your townhouse and co-op is, we gave it back to the Dutch. And look what the Dutch are doing. Do you see?
Hang on a second.
Sure.
This sound thing is just going absolutely crazy. I must have had that. Let's hear you talk for a second.
So there's the Dutch farmers are ripshit, and what they've done is they brought a whole bunch of manure to I forget where exactly in Amsterdam, and they're throwing it on the politicians.
Oh.
And the police responded, with tear gas, so they brought a tank.
They brought a manure to a gunfight.
And then what's hilarious is that the next step, some Dutch people had figured out where the prime minister's private jet is.
Oh, and they stole that?
And they stole it, yeah.
That's got to be a huge crime. I mean...
Well, and we're beginning to see, and if you're sitting there and you're debating, should capital gains taxes be 21% or 28%, you can have a reasonable discussion about that. But when you get up there and you say, look, I will brook no dissent in this country. The general's going to criticize Jill Biden, he gets suspended. We won't cover anything that's negative on Biden. And by the way, inflation's going to run at 25%. You're going to lose your job. You're going to have your car repossessed. Your mortgage is going to go into foreclosure. And your kids are going to be kicked out of college and you're going to be living on the street. There comes a point where people rise up and revolt. And you're seeing, not yet in a developed country other than Holland, you're seeing a lot of that now in Sri Lanka. You're seeing that in Argentina. I just put something up on Twitter. There's riots in the streets in the capital.
Wow.
And I think you're going to see more and more of this. I mean, there is a massive competence deficit in government. And it's plainly obvious. It's
pretty windy.
Yeah, should we go in and...
Sure. Well, I mean, do you think that there's any issue with Trump saying things like this about the Twitter purchase, given that he's got a direct competitor to Twitter?
I think it was not as it wasn't a C performance. I mean, it was an unfortunate thing for him to say. And I think he's going to have to be in a situation where your opponent is just fucking up, committing harakiri on a
Step back and let him do it.
Go play some golf, Donald. It's the summer. You've got how many golf courses? Just let the guy kill himself politically. And let the Democrats now try to resurrect their party. I mean, they're talking about going even further to the left, which is going to work in faculty lounges and it's going to work in, the editorial rooms.
Time, yeah.
In the West Village, but it's not going to work in Haight-Ashbury. It's not going to work in mainstream America where they need the votes. So, is it gone?
What? Somehow it's saying I'm out of data, but this is supposed to have tons of data. What is going on today?
Should we walk? Maybe go up a block.
We're going to run into a problem here.
All right. Well.
Oh my God.
Some problems are soluble, others not.
Wow. How is that happening?
I don't know.
Well, I'm a little bit out of sorts today, Charles.
Could be an attenuated show.
They're always trying to do that because we've got, loads of social engineers doing everything they can think of for the past 5 years to try to shut down Crowdsource the Truth. I hope that people will help me counteract that by going to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I hope we don't lose data, but that seemed to be what that message was saying. Maybe it was saying 2 gigabytes. Could be enough.
Well, on the subject of developments, people who watch me on Twitter, and it's my name on Twitter, @CharlesOrtel, will have noticed that I put a new website contact point, which is charlesortel.substack.com. And you can, at present, you can subscribe. I'm going to shortly get into the business of providing some written content as a prelude to seeking paid subscriptions, where I'm going to finally publish the exhibits I talked about doing in 2016, actually. And one of the reasons I've been waiting is there's no point in publishing something if the public is not in a mind to do something about it. If you're just pushing water uphill, so I can write stuff and get it. People understand I know how to write and talk. But I think where we are now is the government's breaking down all over the world. It's left-leaning governments are breaking down, right-leaning, families are breaking down, inflation's raging, and the people who are benefiting the most from all this are the people closest, the donor class, the political donor class, and people who are prepared to steal from charities. Because the charity area is real, other than the inheritance business, which is kind of tough to get into. The charity business because it's not regulated aggressively the way it needs to be, is a perfect place for con artists. And most politicians, one way or another, are con artists. That's how they get elected.
Seems like most people are.
But charities are perfect places to steal money. If you get allied, I'm saying perfect in quotes, if you get allied with a big cause, that folks around the world will say, you know what, yeah, I really do want to help orphans or animals or Africans or people with AIDS or whatever. And you seem reputable because you've got, say, the UN associated with you, or a former president, or celebrities, or all the above. You're going to get a lot of money sent to that charity. And if it's run by crooks, the first move is going to be that the crooks are going to say, we did a great job. We raised $100 million when they really raised $2 billion. Thinking about the Clinton Foundation here. And the numbers are worse for them. So the first move is to steal from the inflows. The second move, once you agree on how much you say is in the charity, is to steal expenses. Either to say that you paid for something when you didn't. What? Google, yeah.
But the progressive,
oh yeah.
That's new.
Is it?
I mean, it used to just say Google. They put the progressive flag up there.
Huh.
They didn't put the American flag there.
They didn't even, I think on July 4th, they didn't even make a big deal about that on Google. But, so the second move in a crooked charity is to say that you spent money on expenses when you didn't, or to hire a friend and say, okay, you don't have to work and we'll give you, like Hunter Biden, we'll give you...
What about your crackhead son?
Exactly. Make him chairman. Well, he's on the board, I think, Hunter, of the World Food Program. You know, he's got to eat. The guy's got to eat, obviously.
Paying hookers $10,000. Did you see that video?
With his father sending him the money. All that money is fungible, right? So...
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. So on that Substack front, I've got it's no problem doing free subscriptions at the moment, but the second it gets into paid subscriptions, there's some legal issues I've got to deal with. So I'm going to take my time on that. But people who want to get in line and stay up to date with what I'm going to do on Substack, I encourage you to subscribe.
Yeah. So I think people who watch this show, Charles, have definitely come to understand that there's a huge problem with charity fraud in this country. And I've personally come face to face with it. So many of these different entities that have sued me are involved with charities and seem to be improperly handling their finances and not filing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Triumph. Oh.
Triumph, the insult dog. So,
yeah. Did they let him out of jail?
I think he's still president of the United States.
That's true. That's a different rubber puppet.
Yeah. But I should mention that the title of my Substack is False Philanthropy, which is what I came up with to introduce the Clinton Foundation. There are actually on my main website, again, myname.com, there are quite a few historical reports that go into details. Now we're going to reorganize everything, and the stuff that we're going to get on this, put on the Substack, is basically additional detail beyond the level that will go into the book I'm working on.
Wow.
To support contentions that will be made in the book. And I'm working on the best way of organizing the release of all this information. I have it all in my head. Nice garbage.
It's the garbage packing district.
Yeah.
Oh God, it smells so bad.
It's nice that there are holes in those things, so the rats can more easily.
What a wonderful place to relax.
Yeah, it's getting a nice suntan. Could you just put some of that garbage on me? I can't afford suntan lotion. So they ask you on Substack to briefly define what it is that you're going to talk about. And I say, hunting charity thieves. And the point there is, this is not me or you alone bringing these scoundrels to justice. There are literally probably tens of thousands, if not more, of charity scoundrels around the world who belong in prison. And we're finding, when we started on this, you and I went to Norway, and we have some good friends in Norway who initially, and Norwegian Americans, who initially pointed out that in Norway, it's very left-leaning, it's a socialist paradise in theory, and people initially felt in 15, 16, that Norwegians would never revolt against their government because they expected a socialist situation and they didn't think government should be organized to promote capitalism. And the stealing and the waste and the incompetence has gotten to be so bad in Norway, a lot of which has been pointed out by the great folks over at document.no.
Oh yeah.
Hans and Geir are two I interact with on a pretty frequent basis. And they do fantastic work. The mood has shifted over there. You see, it takes a while, but when the population, they're happy in Norway to say we're the richest country in the world, everything works perfectly, that means socialism is great. And now when it all comes unstuck, when you can't heat your house or cool your house, food is really expensive, people are losing their jobs, and politicians are stealing money.
Yeah. And
you're being told by an idiot Nicole Kidman, you got to get involved with, what does she call it? Mini livestock?
Yeah, what?
Bugs.
Oh, God,
Eat
right.
bugs, not cows.
Not doing that.
But
wait a minute, didn't we run into some abortion protest in Norway? I don't remember, was it?
Yes, we did.
What was that about? I don't quite remember the details of that. They were protesting against abortion, right?
Possibly, I forget. Yeah, we were out in this walking around the town square. In the center of Oslo there. Quite a while ago.
Well, and that's the problem, is that they keep trying to delete all these videos so that people can't look at the evidence that we've raised on January 6th and all these little details on a 5-year-long timeline now.
Yeah, well, the January 6th video, I tweeted that out. Thank you for sending it to me earlier today. That's really a masterpiece. I mean, that's 5 hours of us going all over Washington, D.C. We got to we heard Trump speak when he said, get to the Capitol. We were closer to the Capitol than he was.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what, it's fucking cold out here. Let's go there now. And we got there and we saw all these highly suspicious people. And it would be, I think, a very useful exercise for the many eyes in Crowdsource the Truth land to go and spend the time. It's a 5-hour video, but in particular focus on the early time when we got there before people started going up the scaffolding, and see how many sketchy people you can identify.
Yes.
So I remember we talked primarily to older people, not from Washington, D.C. We remember the Arkansas couple, was very funny and smart. These were decent patriots who were very concerned about what had happened, who questioned the election results because they had their mind engaged. They weren't on LSD or on the crack.
Micro-dosing with Jack Dorsey?
Right. They just looked at the facts. They said, on the one hand, we have a charismatic guy who, before the pandemic hit, actually made a lot of very good decisions that got the economy humming and did great stuff for African Americans, for Hispanics, for women, for minorities, and for Americans generally. The stock market was in great shape. And then we fall for this approach, which now, in the benefit of hindsight, I wish you and I shouted louder sooner. But people are saying, well, maybe these shutting down schools was worse for the health of children than allowing this thing to go forward, which I think is probably true. But this 5-hour video, which I actually did watch after I got back, is really interesting.
And so you've got a link to it because it's been removed. The original channel it was broadcast on was completely deleted. The other iterations of it have been apparently removed from YouTube due to complaints from assholes. And people can get the link. It's on Odyssey.com. But if people go and check you out on @CharlesOrtel on Twitter, they can get right to that link. And of course, Charles, for the sponsors on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, it's always been there. So you can go back to January 6th and scroll down and watch that video. But it wasn't just after the speech. You and I encountered very suspicious characters throughout the day. We've said it many times. Anybody under 50 who was wearing a COVID mask at that event did not fit the profile of a typical Trump supporter.
Right.
And we now know, we even have video of people like Walter Masterson disguising themselves as Trump supporters, John Sullivan disguising himself as a Trump supporter. And I mean, none of these guys have been questioned at the January 6th committee hearings. They weren't sitting in jail for 2 years waiting for their trial.
Before we even get to that, I mean, the January 6th committee is an abomination to be expected out of the same people who promoted Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and John Kerry and others. I mean, the notion that the government, with its considerable resources, a branch of it, should compel testimony but not allow the people testifying to have their own lawyers cross-examine and whatever is outrageous on its face. And the idea that you would hold people in prison now close to 2 years, a year and a half, some not on charges yet, again, is absurd.
And then go accuse other people of imprisoning political prisoners or whatever it is that they say is going on in Russia. What about Reality Loser, or whatever that girl's name, Charity? What's her name, who gave the testimony about Trump beating
Cassidy Hutchinson.
What happened with her whole
I don't know.
screed of nonsense?
I don't know.
How come?
I don't know. And what about the contrast? I mean, today's news, apparently Zelensky has consolidated his control over the political situation in Ukraine, banned opposing political parties, banned opposing media.
He's been doing that since the beginning.
But even more aggressively now, we're funding this? Why would this be our top funding priority? And nobody in mainstream media, except for Glenn Greenwald, who's not really in mainstream media, nobody's saying, now wait a minute. Trump in 2020, 21 is impeached for calling up Zelensky, the same guy who's in the middle of this now, and saying, listen, we understand there's a corruption situation that may affect American politicians, and we insist you look into it. And Zelensky says, I'm not going to do that. That would implicate my patron. I need to get, consolidated my whole, have an incident here, and get people around the world to send me hundreds of billions of dollars so I can steal it. The contrast is just...
Well, let's talk about this from the standpoint of the social engineering aspect, because, Nina Jankowicz was on with Brian Stelter this morning, and, given her usual "I'm a victim of disinformation" kind of explanation. And this is important, Charles, relative to what's going on with Zelensky, because, you may recall that another video that persistent, potentially psychopathic social engineers have endeavored vigorously to eliminate is another video that's available on Odyssey and also on band.video, where I exposed business filings that Nina Jankowicz herself made, showing that her LLC is paid thousands of dollars from foreign nonprofits, British, Canadian, Italian, a photograph from her own website, the metadata of which indicates that the photo was taken in Zelensky's campaign headquarters. I don't understand what's going on. It said this thing had 3 gigabytes, but now we have 250 megabytes of data. The show is going to basically take forever to be broadcast out. I mean, we have 2 options. We can end the show in a couple of minutes, or we can carry on, and then I'm going to release the full thing as a director's cut on subscribestar.com and patreon.com. What would you prefer to do?
You pick.
What would the crowd prefer? End the show or do a full show and make it available to subscribers on Subscribestar and Patreon? I'm looking at the chat now, and if people have a preference, let me know. It's either going to be a real short show. I don't understand what just happened. I checked, it had 3 gigabytes on there.
That's Hillary Clinton's next book.
I don't understand what happened.
Right. Or just, I don't understand.
Man, Charles, it's so difficult to get all this technical stuff together and have it work.
It's okay. Whatever you decide. I mean, we can end if you want. You can go if you want. Whatever's easier.
Say, carry on. That's a fact, Jack.
All right.
Well, I hope people will sign up and become sponsors, because that's where the remainder of the show will be. All right, everybody says keep going. Director's cut if need be. All right, so we'll do it.
Okay.
We'll keep going until the battery kicks.
Sounds
So
good.
the point I was getting at, Charles, is they are pushing so hard with the disinformation that they produce, because this is stipulated reality. It's been so effective for them.
Yeah, again, they're running around believing that ordinary people, because ordinary people have taken the abuse now for, I don't know, 33 years, as it were.
Is it?
89 to the present. 34 years, actually. We've all looked at our 401ks or our investment accounts, and we said, well, we've got more money on paper than we need, some of us, and our salaries have gone up. We have savings. Our kids got through college. Maybe they have jobs, maybe they don't. But when you really go back and look at the numbers and say, okay, in 1989, what did $1,000 buy you in 1989? And what does $1,000 buy you in 2022? You see very quickly, what's this?
This is this mental hygiene thing. Hang on now, let's take a look at this. This is that 303 Department of Mental Hygiene. What do you guys got cooking today? What's going on? Monkeypox vaccine?
We'll get out of
here. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Let's get out of here.
So this is building 303, the district health center, and the sign up there says mental hygiene, and they're giving people monkeypox vaccines. Charles, wait a minute now. I think we need to stop here and just absorb the
I want to get far away from
gravity
anybody
of
who
that.
thinks they may have monkeypox.
But what about, we can't even really talk about this. Okay, so wait a minute. So Brian Stelter had Nina Jankowicz on reliable sources, and the two of them are both too stupid to post a damn link to the thing. So I want to talk about this a bit, but
sure,
it's tricky. It's so difficult to do what I'm trying to do here.
Again, when you accept the premise that some third party is going to decide what is true and what isn't true, there is a truth. And these people who talk about my truth or alternative versions of the truth don't understand English.
Here's the crux of it for me. So she resigns the day after I published the report that shows that she was inside Zelensky's Zikomanda campaign headquarters the day of the election in Ukraine.
Right.
That's metadata from her photograph confirmed by a personal phone call to the photographer who took it. And I've also directly asked in that video, should she be registered for FARA? So she goes on to Brian Stelter, and she doesn't say, these accusations were false, I don't need to be registered with FARA for X, Y, and Z reason. She just says, I'm a victim of disinformation.
You can't do that.
And Stelter gives her a worldwide platform to just basically spew lies. Hundreds of thousands of people, many, many more people see CNN than do Crowdsource the Truth. And by the way, if you can't become a sponsor, share this link. Help us overcome this suppression that they're trying to, keep the information back from everybody. I just want the facts. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong.
But you're not wrong. No, and this idea that, you start with the old phrase, "the fish rots from the head," and we know that there are a lot of dead fish in Joe Biden's cranium, or what passes for a cranium, and you have to be really
cranium.
You have to be really effing stupid to decide to work for somebody like that. So you got Mayorkas, who's displays his insanity whenever he flaps his lips. And this Nina Jankowicz is junior to Mayorkas.
Well, she seems like she's getting ready to get back in there. What's she doing on CNN? She just had a baby. Why is this even relevant anymore?
Because the Disinformation Governance Board the Disinformation Governance Board has been going on for a while, and it's still going on in other guys.
Let's talk about that detail for a moment, because you might recall it was publicly announced that she was the executive director 2 days after Elon Musk said he wants to bring the First Amendment back to Twitter. I encourage people to watch that stupid CNN segment because she says a lot of ridiculous things.
Right.
She says that people were trying to suppress her right to exercise the First Amendment, and that people were threatening her family. No one should threaten anybody's family, and I certainly didn't do that. I
Right.
just asked questions about the legality of what she was doing with foreign money and working for the U.S. government. And I mean, it's clear to me, and she admitted in my phone call with her that she was working on this well before this announcement came from Elon Musk, and she said that she doesn't take things down. I have to do a whole show about this because
Again, once you establish somebody as a liar, there's no point in talking to them. You let them talk, but you can't believe anything she says, right?
I mean, I agree. She should answer the questions about the validity of the information, questioning.
Under oath.
Right, that's right. Like, why, if this was a Donald Trump appointee and a Donald Trump thing taking foreign money, that person would be under indictment right now.
Right. What are they doing here?
This is, all this Hudson Yards stuff.
I don't think we walked by this construction site before.
Yeah.
Nice part of town you take me to, Jason.
Hey.
Only the best, huh?
Now,
Like one of those, what was that? A Perillo tour to Italy. You don't see those ads anymore.
Yeah.
Goodman tour of Manhattan.
I'm not really watching ads too much, but so what else have we got? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, there's this is what I wanted to talk to you about. The knives are out. We sort of touched on this, but
Yeah, I mean, the basic, now that it's been established that the press and Google and other social media platforms are so powerful that they can shape public opinion and influence election outcomes, following the Biden precedent, where he really, to be fair, he did not campaign. In the same way Hillary Clinton did not go to Wisconsin and she lost Wisconsin. Biden didn't go to a lot of places, yet he won. And speaking of Wisconsin, their court.
yeah, they just made it illegal to have these drop boxes.
Right, and Trump is claiming, let's just let these guys go. Trump is claiming that this decision underscores or suggests that he legitimately won in 2020.
Well, he said there was some other legal step that was going to come now. What do we know about that?
I don't. But forgetting all that and all those machinations, on the one hand, you have a candidate who,
Want to stroll through here?
sure, who did not try his best. Maybe he did try his best, which makes it even more pathetic. Let's not go into that
Yeah, that
construction.
doesn't look so good.
And who, among key constituencies, it was said that he needed black voters. He goes with Charlemagne the God and says, "Come on, man, you ain't
Ridiculous.
black."
Insulting.
He calls a veteran, you
Pony soldier.
jerk-faced,
Dog-faced pony soldier.
pony soldier. And he was supposed to be the anti-Trump. Trump was supposed to be vitriolic and up and down and unpredictable. This guy's
Getting
supposed
us
to be
into the next war.
measured and experienced and a real career politician. And you're seeing articles. There was one, I think, in Reuters where it was almost like the start of a bad joke. And we interviewed an African American, a Hispanic woman, and a homeless person, all of whom voted for Biden, and all of whom today are very dissatisfied with Joe Biden. And,
Well, now it seems that Reuters is reporting that Joe Biden is weighing what he can do to mess with abortion or whatever.
yeah, national mental health emergency with him as Exhibit A.
Well, what he's saying is Biden weighs authority to declare abortion-related public health emergency. So now, wait a minute. So now they've realized that because they can shut down the world with these public health emergencies, they can just basically
do it again and again from Brazil or Italy, maybe.
they're just going to declare a public health emergency. You know what, Charles? I got to say, I have a feeling that crime is a public health emergency.
No.
All these businesses being closed is a public health emergency.
There's your favorite store.
Oh yeah,
Have they taken a second floor now, or is that always had?
they've always had that. And actually, I got that sound recorder right in there. Oh, we have a ton of interference coming up, I think, from this, but maybe we're under it.
So maybe go across 36th Street.
No, I think
and
that'll
then
be.
down.
Oh, yeah.
36th and I think 36th and 8th is where somebody was just shot.
It's happening every day. Somebody was stabbed up on. Somebody 14 was stabbed on the
Died.
subway.
Person died today.
And then that bodega guy stabbed the dude. They put him in Rikers.
So these are the loud mouths. Yeah, and this is isn't this close to where Echo Health Alliance was at one point?
It's down there.
Down there. These guys are going straight. Maybe we'll make a right.
Sure.
You have your overalls, Jason?
I don't have any overalls.
Like these here to your left.
Oh yeah.
It's a good look. Best bus. Going down to northern Delaware beaches. It's where, do you see Biden was riding his bike on the trail near the beach and somebody did a Twitter video giving him the finger and said, "Where are your fucking training wheels, bozo? Nobody likes you, get out of here."
Wow.
Pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
Also, that team in Saudi Arabia, the comedy team, they did another thing.
This is exactly where we don't want to be. There's a ton of radio noise coming at us here.
This nice garbage too. There's this team in Saudi Arabia of comics, and the man plays Kamala Harris with a wig.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and they did another video. It's really actually quite funny.
But this is bad that we have all these foreign leaders who are just totally not respecting the president, not respecting the country. Basically, Putin responded to Biden's comments that the United States is going to fight to the last Ukrainian, saying that's a horrendous tragedy for the Ukrainian people.
Right.
But basically, come at me, bro, and we haven't even gotten started yet.
I know. It's pathetic, and it really reflects very poorly on all of us that we as a nation would say this is the best we can do. I mean, this team, one person weaker than the next. And this idea that it's okay to harass Kavanaugh at Morton's.
Yeah, how is nobody getting arrested for that?
And Mike Emanuel, the Fox guy, yeah, you're not bothering us at all.
You don't look like you're in the middle of anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about working. Anyway, you want to revolutionize the way you smoke, Jason?
No, actually, Charles, we forgot to take everybody through the poster here, and I'll just do that quickly.
Sure. Oh, this is
the Wrecking Club.
That's
yeah.
Biden's administration.
Exactly, and this is just for people who like the game Grand Theft Auto, tried to create Grand Theft Moron in the style, and of course,
succeeded.
We've got Bubba, B-Rock, and the president of Stupid hanging out.
Yeah, I really wish I was still in touch with my friend, Dennis from Michigan. Hot tub there with Pete Peterson. And he and I were talking tennis. This is in Arizona. This is like 30 plus years ago, and we're actually it's more or less 33 years ago now that I think about it.
And Peterson looked like a rug, right?
Peterson, yeah. I mean, some people can't help the way they're, how hairy or not hairy they are. But
he can't help it that he's a gorilla.
But some men, this guy had. I mean, in the old days, he would definitely not be wearing clothes because he had enough hair to keep himself warm in 20 degrees below Fahrenheit. I mean, the guy was like a walking carpet. But he sits in the hot tub, and all his chest hair, a lot of the lucid floats to the surface. And you're like,
kids used to rub his legs in the pool.
Get out of here, man. Anyway,
hey, what's this?
This is used to be Stables, I think.
Oh.
There are a bunch of them around here.
NYPD horses.
Yeah, they maintain city property so well.
No
public use of this dumpster. This is where Hunter used to sleep.
Yeah.
But anyway, this guy gets in, Peterson gets in the hot tub, and we're just shooting the shit about tennis, actually. And then there was something going on in the Middle East, and this guy was Jewish, my friend. and we were talking about something to do with the Middle East, and Peterson, expected us to give a shit what he thought about anything, and he volunteers this in a very pompous way. He makes these observations about the Middle East, and the dentist looks at him. That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life, and not knowing who Pete Peterson was.
Well, but so talk to us a bit about Pete Peterson. I mean, he basically
still dead.
David Hawkins says that he is a scumbag. I mean, he's been involved with the Blackstone Group, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Peter G. Peterson Foundation.
So,
and he looks exactly like the police sketch of somebody who killed, I forgot her name, but Hawkins had it pretty well cinched up.
Yeah, Pete Peterson is, I think, a Greek American who came from modest means and got a PhD, and I think was Secretary of Commerce or something like that in the Nixon administration at a young age. The Blackstone Group was a very clever idea. In fact, dare I say, that's what Dylan Reed was trying to do. I wrote
what does it do?
It's private equity. It started out as investment banking without sales and trading. So it was basically corporate advice, raising capital, and buying and selling companies, making investments. Today, it's the largest private investor in the world, investment fund in the world. It's publicly traded. It's very successful. There are knocks on it. One knock is that they sold, I think, an 8% stake or thereabouts to, in effect, the Chinese Communist Party.
Maybe they could hire Hunter Biden.
No, the people I know who work at Blackstone are actually very smart and highly ethical and very successful at what they do. The Pete Peterson Foundation has done good work, but it also has made donations to the Clinton Foundation, and but a lot of supposedly reputable operations have made contributions to the Clinton Foundation. And Pete Peterson's wife is still alive. That is Joan Gans Cooney, who is the person behind Sesame Street, I think. And they're a real power couple. They're the kind of people, like when I used to, when Clarissa was alive and we were married, and we go on vacation, my attitude is, on vacation, the reason they call it a vacation is because you don't work.
Right.
That's where you do nothing but have fun and spend time with your family and friends. These guys would get, we would go, actually around between Christmas and New Year's. It was a very interesting time to go out there when it was around, John Gardner's tennis ranches.
But Blackstone is totally different than BlackRock.
Yeah, BlackRock is Larry Fink, who's appropriately named, and Susan Rice was on the board of it, and it's a horrible operation, who is, selling this absurd ESG, environment, sustainability, and governance scores that try to sell aggressively a hard left agenda in corporate America and multinational companies around the world. It's a disaster.
What's also interesting? Oh, look. It looks like Weed World has gone organic, Charles. Call Jeff Bezos. But it was only like a couple weeks ago that I was joking with those girls in the tents about monkeypox, and then now we just saw it. So obviously, this is the new normal. Every 6 months, there'll be some new thing that you have to get vaccinated against.
Well, in the old days, 40 years ago or longer, people would buy a new car every year if you were a patriotic American. The car industry, you want to be.
How frequently?
Every year.
Who was doing that?
My great-grandfather used to do that. I mean, it's a patriotic thing. You buy a new car and you support
somebody
the car.
Somebody gets the old used car
and then
for less money.
I have a friend my age who does it as well.
You gotta have a lot of money to do that. Should we go through Penn Station?
I don't want to go inside Penn Station if you don't mind. Well, we can try. I just don't like getting out there I'll walk around it.
Well, we go wherever you want.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think.
Was that the building where EcoHealth was? It's now gone?
No.
You sure?
No, I'm pretty sure, because that was like a shoe store or something.
All right.
Because this is where my old office was. I used to walk by that all the time. That was retail over there.
Okay. What is this guy doing?
And this is Bank One.
Really?
Yeah. There's a big giant one on there.
Huh.
See it? Red one at the top. The Big Red One, Charles. Isn't that a
Big
World War
One.
II movie?
I guess. Maybe let's go on this side. Would probably be more interesting.
Sure.
You can stop into Lucy's and love it.
Lucy's was originally, there was a Lucy's up on 80 something that was like the retired surfers. I think it's the same Lucy's, but they closed the other one.
This is the first time I've even noticed it.
Really? I've been in
Boy,
there.
there are a bunch of people up on the edge or the ledge or whatever that thing is. You see?
Oh yeah, wow. The legendary ledge. A little tough to see him from here. But so I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what's going to happen with Elon Musk. Parag Agrawal said he's ready to go to war. I was having a conversation with Cullen about it. It was pretty funny. Cullen was like, all right, Parag, I got 4 rockets coming to your house right now. How many rockets you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, it would be one thing. I mean, I don't like Mark Zuckerberg, but his stock price has gone from 18 to 300 or whatever it went to. Twitter.
Behind that.
Well, I mean, you could argue the guy's done decent work, right? But Twitter, its IPO price was what, 20 something?
Well, I think it went up pretty quickly after the IPO to 50, and then now it's at 36 or 30.
Right. I mean, this is over a long time period. I mean, you could put your money in U.S. savings bonds and probably done a better job than the board of directors has done for Twitter shareholders, and so I mean public shareholders. So that's like the latest CEO of GE trying to defend his pay. I mean the stock is now below the equivalent of 8. I suggested shorting it at 40, and that was in July of 2007, 15 years ago. And along the way, these CEOs have paid themselves on average about $20 million each a year.
Wow.
To drive the thing into the dirt. And where rhinos like McConnell get into trouble, and I think Bannon's instincts were correct actually under Trump.
About what?
You've got to castigate these CEOs who get paid whether they win or lose, and especially if they lose. You should suffer serious penalties if you take a company like a GE that was a Dow component, was a very and you ruin it. The damage you are causing, you need to feel some of that pain. You can't just have a one-way option. It's called moral hazard. You can't do that. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're creating the opportunity, first of all, to fuel a progressive movement, and then to put people in an impossible position. How do you defend GE and go on the attack against government and crony corruption in politics? You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
So but what do we, or do we know what's going on with the Truth Social? We've got this information from Donald Trump and his attorney that seems to indicate that he's leaving the board. I don't think Trump has said one way or another.
I honestly just don't know enough of the details to comment, but the answer will lie in the same sort of filings that you can find on Twitter. If this is about to be public, they will have to make filings. And rather than just focus on the Florida filing, and we know, for example, in charity land that many state filings are wrong. All the Clinton Foundation filings are wrong. Many of the American Conservative Union Foundation filings are wrong at state level. So I don't have a tremendous amount of confidence that the Florida state filing is going to be entirely
why
accurate.
Wouldn't Trump come out and put it to rest and say, I'm not leaving the board, and he didn't confirm one way or another.
I don't know.
The so-called blank check company behind former President Donald Trump's Truth Social platform now appears to be the subject of an investigation by federal prosecutors. And he supposedly left in June, but they just keep making these like antagonistic. I can't tell if it's Devin Nunes or his incompetent lawyer who's writing these things.
Yeah, again, with that kind of stuff, if I read it, maybe I'd be able to.
Well, I mean, I
downloaded
the thing. And you pointed out to me that we really need to go to Delaware to get the filing.
Well,
and there were some barriers to getting it from the Delaware website, so I figured I'll wait until Monday and see what's going on.
Well, I think that you also have to go to the SEC filings, and
I don't really know how to do that.
it's Edgar.
I mean, again, I look at that and I start to get pretty lost.
Well, you put the name of the thing in and see what pops up, and just start looking chronologically. What you want are 8K filings, I think, may describe, because I don't know the status of this thing. Is it public yet? Is it not public? But if they have 8Ks, those have to describe very specifically recent developments, material developments, and there's a prescribed format, and you can't lie in them. Or you can lie,
maybe
but
you can.
You can lie, but you'll die trying. I mean, in terms of going to jail and stuff.
Right.
What is everything is under scaffold here? I mean,
Everything is under scaffold.
This is the center of what used to be an important business district and tourist district. Everything's under construction. Everything's falling down. Everything's dirty.
It's really bad.
These are all, you got Virginia is for lovers, and Delaware is for morons.
And New York is for
criminals.
Sadists.
For criminals.
Or masochists.
Satanists.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely for criminals.
Right.
I mean, we haven't really seen the mayor, the NYPD. Now, there was this video that was posted on Twitter the other day that showed like 7 cops arresting a guy in Washington Square Park for reasons that are unclear. It's amazing.
He looked a little bit like the guy with the free hugs sign. He's been arrested all over the city, and I did see him 2 days ago in Washington Square Park. So maybe they were arresting him.
Do we need 7 cops to do that? I mean,
you see that now all the time in the city. When there's a fire, where there's an incident, there's multiple squad cars. If it's an incident, police incident, there are multiple fire trucks. And I always ask myself, could it be that we have too many police and too many firefighters and not enough people on the line actually working, and too many people, quote, managing, observing? So this is your favorite place, right?
what?
Smash Burger?
I have not been in there. It just smells like legal weed around here, Charles.
Because that guy is smoking.
It's very difficult to do this with the news on one arm, and
You're multitasking,
it's
Jason.
like a really,
I can't even task.
you know,
You're
a while
multitasking.
ago I said that it's like, oh, I don't understand why people haven't attempted to copy what I'm doing. And there are a few people who do, the one-man show kind of thing. Tom Green did it for a while. John Mark Dugan actually does it. But this, taking it to the multi-person walking around with multiple inputs, I haven't seen anybody try to do that.
Yeah.
And it was still difficult to keep all these different stories going here.
Yeah, there was another few. Well, there's a few zero hedge stories. The situation we touched on Netherlands. We talked about Argentina. We talked about Sri
Oh, it
Lanka.
had a story about natural gas plants keep exploding.
Well, it's the company on whose board I serve. It's called Ariel, A-R-I-E-L. It's a private company, and they make the special types of natural gas compressors, which will take gas out of the actual well and put it into the pipe so it can be transported and various. And these devices, you don't go and say, I want to get it. Maybe Biden would say, or Hillary Clinton would say, let's save some money and get a cheap one of these, because when things don't work well, you get a kaboom, which is what happened. And
There's something going on with Russian gas technology.
That they need a compressor or something that is being fixed in Canada, and Zelensky wanted Canada to respect the embargo and not send the fixed compressor or whatever it is back to Russia, and Canada said, F off, we're going to do this.
Ooh. What the hell does Zelensky think he's running over there that he gets to tell people? I mean, obviously without that natural gas flow to Europe is going to be hurt even further, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I've had to date only pleasant experiences in Ukraine. I forget if I was there 12 or 15 times, but I was there.
We're going to differ on that.
Well, I'm just saying I had very pleasant time there. I was with a friend, and we were living well and staying in very nice places and interacting with nice people, having good meals, having a lot of fun. In the summer, principally. Sometimes I think we went once in January. It's interesting, but
check it out, Spanish Web.
What?
I'm pretty sure that's an acrobatic device called the Spanish Web, and she's probably heading over to that acrobatic yoga place.
Which is where?
It's somewhere right around here, and I remember it's called like Aerial Arts or something, which is very close to the name. It's ironic that that would show up just as we're talking about Ukraine.
Yeah. But anyway,
everywhere, Charles.
Exactly. So it's, so I've had nothing but pleasant experiences in Ukraine, and I don't mean disrespect to the people of Ukraine. In fact, I think our policy under Biden is ruinous. Is already ruinous.
Yes.
People of Ukraine, it's going to get worse. And I think every nation, it's incumbent on each nation to elect leadership and hold the leadership to account in countries where you can do this, such that the leadership is fostering conditions where society can flourish. That should be the job of government.
Well,
not
the
garbage.
opposite of that, Charles, is on Zero Hedge right now. Right. They're saying that French and German leaders are warning the populations to prepare for a total cutoff of Russian gas as social unrest looms.
Well, people are not going to say, oh yeah, that's fine. Why don't you, how many palaces do you have? How many private jets are you in?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When you warn someone that social unrest is about to happen, does that do anything to stop it?
Accelerates it.
Prepare for your electricity to turn off. And then China blasts the FBI and MI5 allegations as chasing imagined demons. Right. I don't agree with that. They're not chasing anything. They're just sitting there doing nothing.
Well, and as I told you, and I saw it as well, they're celebrating the fact that Shinzo Abe died. They're saying he deserves it.
I know. And then there's even been some people with Chinese-seeming screen names who have come into the comments. I think it was on High Dive with Lee Stranahan yesterday. People can still see that on Patreon and Subscribestar, who came in there and said they're excited that Shinzo Abe is dead.
Well, and we've been saying this now for several years. The Rockefellers, Kissinger, Jeffrey Sachs, the people who said, oh, no, we know the right thing to do. Let's embrace communism, the Chinese Communist Party. They'll grow. Huh?
We still have some time. The battery is lasting.
Okay.
The data's lasting. We'll head over to the park.
Okay.
They're embracing China.
So they embraced China back in '72 when Nixon went to China with Kissinger and all that. And how can
Pierre
you,
Trudeau.
50 years later, how can you look at this and say this has worked well for the American people? It's worked well for the Chinese elites. It's worked well for some of the American and Western elites, but it has certainly not worked well for the heartland. And we see how China behaved when it was weak. We see how it behaves now when it believes it's strong. How do you think it's going to behave in 10 years?
When it's in charge of everything.
Right. There's no such thing as noblesse oblige when it comes to communist China.
It's a really bad situation that we're in, Charles.
Right, and we need to, Henry Kissinger, he's an ass clown.
What are you talking about, Charles?
He's Bozo the fat ass clown. we haven't riffed on, got a new name for her, the White House press idiot.
Oh, Karine.
Latrine.
Latrine, yeah.
Or Latrine Saint-Pierre. It should be actually, this is, if you know French, Latrine Saint-Pierre. Without a Peter.
Yeah.
But without interest in Peter. But anyway, it's pathetic.
Oh, look, this is another weed store. I think we've been by it, but I didn't see this sign for pre-rolled.
Well, you can get weed and then you can get a foot rub.
And look, they've got all the potato chips and everything in there. So that's the idea, is I guess they want to sell you weed and munchies. I don't understand all these places.
And floor supplies, so you can live on the floor, smoke weed, stay at the Wilson Hotel or whatever that thing is.
it's just such an amazing display of being totally out of control. I don't think I would have ever imagined that New York City and the United States of America would come to this state.
It is. It's a disaster. It's a disaster and getting worse.
Yes.
Mr. Haynes.
Sorry to upset everybody who's listening to this, but we can't lie and talk about bunnies and rainbows when the grand theft under the Moron is taking place. Oh, well, we forgot to talk about the thing that inspired the title. So it's come to light that Joe Biden went to the, you've mentioned it before, but Joe Biden's gone to the strategic oil reserves and sold it to Sino, what is it called?
Peck or Sino?
Sinopec, right. And that Hunter Biden was invested in that. I mean, this is just brazen criminality, and there's not even an investigation. As you pointed out, when Donald Trump calls Zelensky, they're like, oh, we got to impeach him, make up every false.
How about at the same time that this is coming to light, barely coming to light, the president decides to have Hunter Biden and his stripper wife, or whoever the current wife is, out to Camp David, gets photographed coming off of Marine One.
Really?
And then they give the medals out to that anti-American lunatic Megan Rapinoe, or whatever her name is, and others. And Hunter's on the front row at the ceremony.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Basically letting the U.S. attorney know that Hunter's a protected guy and close to the president. You better think twice before you do it. The impropriety here is so absurd. And then you have these new texts that have that are really the mouth on Hunter and on Joe and the whole family.
I didn't
read disrespect. Oh my God, the disrespect. He says to in a text to Jill, he says, "At my drunkest moment, I'm smarter than you effing moron."
Wow.
Or something like that. Lording over the fact that you're a doctor, you never went to an Ivy League school, and then
who says that to anybody?
This is Hunter, and he didn't get into Yale Law School on merit.
Vindictive moron, it says here. Hang on now, I hadn't heard that.
Well, it gets worse. I don't want to use the word; it's not a good word to use, but this is to his stepmother. He calls her the C word.
See you next Tuesday.
Exactly.
Hunter Biden allegedly called stepmom Jill a vindictive moron in newly uncovered texts. An angry rant recently discovered. Oh man, now we got ads. That's why I like to do the viewer sponsored, so that people don't have to deal with ads. You can become a sponsor and then there are no ads. But it's an angry rant, and the Sun revealed that the texts were found on an Apple iPhone backup. We've heard about that backup before. Now that was an encrypted backup, so somebody has broken the password to get to that, which is definitely a federal crime, but once they release it publicly, I think...
But think about using that kind of a word. He's sleeping, at the time he's...
With every prostitute and stripper.
Much worse than that. He's sleeping with his brother's widow.
Oh, right.
Right? And he's falling out with her, so he's calling her nasty names and say, you're just like Jill Biden, that effing C word. And the reason he's pissed at both of them, Haley and his stepmother, is that they too are down the rat hole, and you learn this if you have exposure to anybody who goes through this type of treatment. You can't encourage somebody to seek treatment. They have to find a bottom, and it has to be their decision. Unless it's their decision,
never going to work.
Very unusual for it to work, because they'll always feel put upon. I didn't want to do this. You made me do this, and they have to want it. They have to embrace it. You learn that the hard way.
It's amazing that he's still alive. When you read that Laptop from Hell book and the crap that he gets into, selfish, silly, entitled,
Well, it's amazing that the family would say, let's run the 77-year-old moron for president with this set of life issues around him.
Yeah. Really quite a thing.
And I also am loving the chatter we're getting out of D.C. now. The Democrat insiders see the handwriting on the wall is so bad. They've all decided that there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Kamala Harris could run and win.
Really?
Oh, there's no way with the footage that you have there.
No, I mean, I agree, but I'm surprised that they've come up with it.
And so they're all, well,
Charles, these are new solar trading and wireless accessories.
you can get one of those yellow
But
vests.
these are all these crappy little Chinese junk businesses.
Now, Jason.
Like I said it.
Isn't that true?
The Chinese junk food. Yeah.
See, people from New York know what I'm talking about.
You're right. They're arrogant
what did
as well.
she say?
She said, you know what, sir? They're also arrogant.
I mean, I don't really go shopping in there, but this is a section of town where it's like wholesalers of toys and electric lights and
People
stupid
sleep
little.
on the street here.
Right. These guys are supplying, I think it's those stores that are supplying the counterfeit material to all of these different, African blanket sales operations.
And garbage places.
Oh,
Outdoor
here's the Elon
lewds.
Musk right here.
I didn't realize he's working as a taxi guy.
No, this isn't a taxi, is it?
Says T, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Don't be so surprised. Just T. So, what is Cha-Cha Matcha?
I think it's a tea place.
People are a little bit overdressed, don't you think?
All right, lady.
Maybe they're going to the prom or something.
I don't know. It's
Why are you ladies so dressed up to go to the tea place?
You haven't heard about this place before?
No.
What about it? No.
You have to come black dressed up if you want to come get tea here.
Oh, you have to be dressed
Where's your prom dress?
I'm just behind the scenes working.
I see.
up.
What seems like we've driven them away.
It's a mermaid convention without the
They've changed their mind, Charles. No tea.
no tea for you.
Nobody else in there is wearing a prom dress.
I think that person was. And then we have the goodies.
Putting us on.
Goodies shop.
Wait, this is another weed store.
Is it?
Yeah, of course. Look,
I'm
it's all weed in there.
not a
Charles,
weed person.
I mean, this is just going to become Chinese junk, weed, coffee, and
It should be
Popeye's
tea.
chicken.
Chinese junk and tea, shouldn't it be?
Yes. Unbelievable.
Planta Queen. What the fuck is this?
What's going on around here?
Planta Queen?
Please
tell me
this?
that's
A
not-
hookah place. I mean, that's technically, you could smoke weed out of that.
I mean, the girls in the dresses were pretty, but really odd to wear that kind of clothing at this time of day on a Sunday.
They're probably doing something at, All Mobile Video has that Martha Stewart television studio across the street from my apartment.
I didn't
Maybe
even
they're
know
doing
about
something
that.
in there.
Okay.
Now, we've walked by it.
Have we?
So, all right, now, I haven't gotten a battery warning yet, but
We're close.
no, I think that data warning had to do with, because we're still going and flowing. DJ says weed everywhere. That's true. So, I mean, we are still to some extent, Charles, testing out this new system, and you got a little bit of firsthand insight into how, you change one thing in a complex system like this, and this is why an idiot like Joe Biden can't just say, forget all these cars, we're going to go to a whole new system. It's like, excuse me, moron. You change the sound recorder on these three things, and it introduces a litany of new problems.
Yeah, well, this reminds me, and Joe Biden, actually the first time I met him was in college a long time ago. He was extremely well-spoken. And I was only 18 or 19 and he was 30 or whatever he was. And I told you the story. There's something called the Chubb Fellowship at Timothy Dwight College at Yale, and he was invited as a guest, an honored guest. He'd recently become a senator or whatever, and he walked into the room not knowing anybody's name. We had no name tags, and within 45 minutes he knew everybody by name and was...
Well, he should go work in Vegas as a mentalist, because that's impressive from that standpoint. But in terms of running the country, he's about the biggest idiot I could imagine.
But going back a number of years later, after I graduated, my first class at Harvard Business School, 75 of us in the room, I was jet lagged as hell. I had a summer job in London. I was coming back.
Building cars in Egypt. You were real busy.
That summer job, I was working in a bank, actually, Bankers Trust, in the Africa Middle East department. And I think I may have met Saddam Hussein. I think. I definitely met his...
quote Hamid, I like that guy.
No, I met senior people from the Iraqi
Wow.
military Yeah.
We should make a Zelig type movie with you.
We do Zelig.
Yeah.
It's Zelig.
And it's just like, well, here's the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
No, it wasn't
Is that
it.
Charles back there?
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
And then
Although an ancestor was.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like the discovery of gold in California.
That we
You're
could
there,
do.
like chipping.
We could do that one. No,
Stone.
an ancestor was the business part. Well, was a business partner of Thomas Jefferson's father, Peter Jefferson.
Wow. You don't often hear about Peter Jefferson.
This is all they before this was under construction, I think. Now they've opened it back up.
Oh, no, that's the new. That's still under construction. This is the temporary dog run.
Yeah.
Now,
But so just going back to what were we talking about before?
well, just how stupid Joe Biden is, I think.
Oh yeah. So in my first year at business school, first day in class, I'm jet lagged, and the teacher goes around. I had no full-time work experience. I was 22. And there was somebody in my class, a woman, I think was 46.
Wow.
And there are many people in their late 20s, early 30s with a lot of good experience.
Marla Maples, not Marla Maples. Who's the model who got her face cut? She was in one of my film classes.
Okay, but
Sorry.
how's that relevant to what I was talking about?
I don't know, famous people we
classmate?
went to college with.
Anyway,
right.
so this guy, with experience from England, Michael Nisbet, answers some is given a chance at the end of the class to summarize what 75 people have said, which is quite an art. To go and say, well, Jason said this, but Charles said that, and so did somebody
another
else.
Vegas act.
It's really amazing. And I listened to that. And I said, I'm not going to make it through this week, let alone to get a degree. I can't do that. This guy's amazing. And that was because at that point, I didn't know some of the tricks that you learn and try to sound smart as a manager. One of them is, it's hilarious. Instead of what I would do, somebody says something, I would say, that's a ridiculous point for these 3 reasons. I mean, I don't go to the Hamptons because I hate it, for this and that, as I said to Anna Chapman. What this Nisbet guy would do, and here's some entrepreneurs here selling candy, what he would do is somebody would say something ridiculous, and he'd say, I'd like to build on that comment.
Right.
It's very positive and
Yeah.
matriarchal.
Thank you for asking that.
Right, yeah, exactly. Thank you for making
Excellent question.
that absurd point.
Yeah, thank you for
Anyway,
that question.
But by the end, so in the beginning, we're like, here's the second coming of Christ. This guy is going to be top of the class. No point in competing with him. By the middle of the second year, or the middle of the first year, people had figured out his bullshit. And there were a number of ex-football players and hockey players, whatever. The guy's pontificating, and people in the class say, Michael, just shut up. And these 4 big brutes pick him up in the middle of giving his comment and take him out of the classroom because he was so ridiculous. That's what you need to do with Biden.
Pick him up and take him out of the classroom.
Exit, the old...
Stage left.
Yeah,
The hook.
exit the hook, yeah. The Gong Show. And the word salads out of that National Economic Council, Fouché, that lady. That was really, I'd gotten the story slightly wrong. There's a guy at Bloomberg called Tom Keene, who's actually a very senior guy. He may be their most senior anchor in terms of age and experience. And he's been replaced, as they do over at Bloomberg, with a younger guy from England who's really very smart. The younger English guy is probably in his 30s. And the two of them had a television interview with this woman who's on the National Economic Council. And the young guy from England asked a question, saying, this idea that came out of your administration that the way to solve gas prices is to have gas station operators lower their price is absurd on its face.
Yes.
It's economically illiterate. When are you going to have somebody delete that tweet and correct yourself, more or less? And she tried, well, inflation is our number one priority. We work it's the first thing we think about in the morning.
Increasing it.
And Tom Keene, as they say in the South, bless his heart, just on air said to this member of the Biden administration, listen, that answer is non-responsive. You're going to answer the question. And she couldn't do it.
I think I did see a segment of that.
You want to go away from the music? Or?
I kind of like that music.
All right.
Reggae,
Down to Union
jazz.
Square, and I'll leave
Yeah,
you.
let's keep going this way.
Yeah.
It's like Hanukkah on the phone today, Charles. The data is lasting. I think I know what happened. It used to be 15 gigs, And when I looked at it today, it said X amount remaining out of 17 gigs. So I think it thought there was only 500 megabytes left, but there's actually 2.5 gigabytes. I know you love this type of stuff. It occupies your every thought.
Yeah, I speak Swahili too. It's what you're speaking to me right now.
So people are talking about this guy who was defending himself and the employees at the bodega, who's now been stuck into Rikers Island. And I have a feeling that public outcry against Alvin Bragg could play some kind of role here in maybe making a difference in the potential prosecution of this guy.
I mean, there is no thought process involved in the tale as we know it. I mean, apparently the girlfriend of the person who was murdered felt she had been disrespected when the bodega owner, when the card she tried to use to buy potato chips at some certain time of the day was denied. So she leaves in a huff, explains this to the guy. Guy comes and he starts getting into a shoving match with the owner. The guy fears for his life, and we don't know how many times that episode like that has occurred in the bodega. And we then just see a knife come out, and apparently it was not, I'm going to scare you. It was, I feel my life is threatened, and I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to.
Oh, he stabbed the hell out of the guy.
Right.
I saw the surveillance footage.
Right, but we without all of that, you don't see, everything that comes before, everything that leads up,
right,
to the denouement. And of course, it's regrettable, beyond regrettable, if the kid is dead. But you're fighting over potato chips.
That's true. I think it's actually, more than that, though, because we've got now Bratton warning that the NYPD is going to suffer a crisis, a shortage of ranks for several years. And William Bratton is a guy who actually ran the cops correctly. New York City, whatever people want to say about these guys.
Didn't he go work for Teneo?
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh, man, I don't know. But at least we didn't have the kind of crime we're having right now when he was the police commissioner or whatever he was.
Jason, this is good to know. You're a police commissioner.
Well,
the largest variety of boxes in the world. How do they know that?
I think
Are you telling me in India there isn't a box store that's bigger
more
than
variety?
Right.
Well, this used to be just bulbs. And I would walk in there and razz them and be like, "Do you guys sell lamps?" And they're like, "No." "How about extension cords?" "No." "Do you have batteries?" "Man, read the damn sign." Because my office, before it was 21st century.
You have an office in every
3D.
block in the city?
Well, no. What happened was we started out as multimedia system design in this office, and then 9/11 happened, and the rent was going crazy over here. So I moved to the west side, sort of coincident with creating 21st century 3D, and then we were over there at 505 8th, where we just were earlier.
Jason's office building tour.
And then we had the LA office.
Wow.
And then 3D fell apart and the whole thing went kaflooey,
Kerplooey.
so to speak.
Biden knows how to do that.
So now, Charles, you may remember, no, you had taken a time out last week, but the battery died much earlier than I expected it to, because we're experimenting with some new tech here.
Right.
Having this ability to bring up news stories, etc. Uh-oh, wait a minute. What's going on with Bill Gates' daughter here? See, we can bring up interesting and distracting news here. Bill Gates' daughter, Phoebe, faces racist comments after posting photos with rumored boyfriend.
Come on.
Latest online trolls. Whoops. Well, now you can get 60% off of the New York Post, but people can look up what Bill Gates' daughter is doing with online trolls. This is a recurrent theme that, it's difficult to be a woman online, according to Nina Jankowicz, and
It's not difficult for her to be stupid. She excels at that.
well, it comes easy, She makes it look effortless.
A long line of dumbass Jankowitzes.
She's got a scowl on her face. Now, wait a minute. Was this WeWork or is it becoming WeWork?
It was WeWork.
Well, welcome to the We Don't Work.
Exactly. That's the Biden administration. We don't work.
And look, that's now something. Timothy Oulton. I don't know that.
It's probably Michael Nisbet's store.
Yeah, so Joe Biden is busily trying to create laws that will defy he says, keep protesting, keep making your point. It's critically important. So he's not allowing the Department of Justice to enforce the law. He is allowing people to violate federal law by intimidating judges.
Well, he's just proving that that his resume is bunk. He's the kind of person who will tell you, I did go to Syracuse Law School. I did go to. It's okay. I did go to Syracuse Law School. I finished at the bottom of my class.
And I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
So it must be smart.
I mean, that guy Gilbert Gottfried, who was very funny as a comedian and is now
Sadly
dead.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a better accountant than Joe Biden is a lawyer, and he only played an accountant in that movie with Eddie Murphy. Right?
Was he an accountant?
Yeah.
Okay, now it says low battery, so we've got probably about 10 minutes. I think I have effectively extended.
Should we head to the right then?
Yeah.
A wise man inclined.
So you see, I have a big plan for how we can dramatically improve the power performance of this new setup. But it's going to good whiff of movie theater popcorn there. But it's going to be difficult to do. So what I need to do is incremental Kaizen. I've been changing a lot of things
Look,
on the settings.
Is that Twitter's bird?
That's like land shark or something.
What is it?
I guess it is a bird. I thought it was land shark. You know when
Sure, yeah.
Chevy Chase is trying to deliver chocolate or something?
Yeah. Fish's Eddy is an actual town in New York. Been there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on the west side of the Hudson.
I got an idea. What if we look up land shark? Maybe we can now have funny, non sequitur images the way that I do.
All the time.
No, we're not getting Chevy Chase.
We'll walk all the way to 7th, and I'll leave you on 19th and 7th.
Sure.
Let you go up.
Wait a minute. Land shark. It's very difficult to do this while walking.
Scanlon Theodore. Nobody in there.
Oh man, it's so uncooperative. It's difficult to describe.
It's a big dude.
Man, it's difficult to do this with any degree of speed, and obviously you know this well, Charles. Comedy relies on timing.
Right.
But here you go, land shark.
There you go.
Candygram. Land shark.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Whoops, that's the wrong.
Well, Saturday Night Live is asleep for the summer, right? They don't.
I don't know.
I think it's reruns in the summer.
It's not even funny anymore.
It was. I thought the Sean Spicer thing with what's her name was hilarious. A number of years ago.
Yeah, what's her name? Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, that was fun. Let's wait.
Sure.
This is now looking downtown on Fifth Avenue. Empire State rolling there. At the Ape in the White House. That's Joe Biden.
I think an ape would be smarter. They could teach it sign language.
Would be smarter?
Yeah, they could get that ape that speaks sign language, and then at least there would be less gaffes than Joe Biden. The ape would not say, repeat the quote. Dude, and you know what? It was Kamala Harris, and who's the other guy?
And the looks on their faces.
Well, he starts laughing.
Right, yeah. But the looks on their faces is just, I can't believe I work for this idiot. And Xavier Becerra is a moron as well.
Oh, was it Becerra? Yeah. He was like laughing.
Yeah, he's the corrupt guy with the wand. He's the corrupt former attorney general. Those are two former attorney generals
of California,
both incompetent, right?
Right. Well, and look at the state of California.
Do I have to?
Right.
I mean, I had the good sense to leave when I was 10 months old. Didn't have much to.
You didn't have that much input in the decision, right?
Burp once if you want to stay, and vomit if you want to leave. But this is a sign of progress. You're reducing carbon emissions. I mean, this is empty, right? It's lit. I don't know why it would be lit. Right? The lights are on.
Point.
It's probably hot in there, and as a guess, the air conditioning, if there is air conditioning there, is on. Global warming. A top priority.
So, the other thing is there's a lot of people who are speculating that China is getting ready to kind of blitzkrieg Taiwan. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that won't work well for them. I mean, it's very tough. I mean, they did it in Hong Kong. It's a little different in Hong Kong because you have you don't have a water barrier as you do, a lengthy water barrier. That's a good wine store, actually.
That's new, isn't it?
No, it's been here for a long time.
Has it?
I bought wine here years ago.
Fireworks?
What they do, what's interesting with this place is if you don't know much about wine, they help you figure out what you should eat with which type of wine, and they do it's a non-snobby expert explanation of what each of these wines is. I like that, as opposed to, I remember my father is famous for ordering wine by price, not the cheapest, not the most expensive,
right,
just the middle. And so we're in I think the Columbia University faculty club, or for some reason, as I'm about to get married, and my father's doing the ordering at this very fancy restaurant in there, and this really over-the-top pompous fool, is trying to explain what
sommelier.
Yeah, but really over the top crazy. And my father says, "Well, what do you think about this selection?" He points to something. I think it says in a really effective voice, "This wine allows itself to be drunk," i.e., it's like piss. It's
Man.
But
now, Charles, have we heard any more details about this 10-year-old who's allegedly?
Yes.
Here's your raptor.
Yeah, so Clarice Feldman is somebody I really admire. She's a former Justice Department lawyer, very experienced. She writes something called Clarice's Pieces for American Thinker.
Oh, yeah, right.
And she gets into this, and apparently there is no corroboration of this story whatsoever. We don't have the name of the 10-year-old. This is an allegation by a doctor who is...
Aren't they supposed to tell the cops, though?
Exactly. And so this story is fallen apart. I posed a question today on Twitter, seriously not being a biologist, but having a daughter. I think that the percentage of girls who could become pregnant at age 10 is a very low percentage to begin with. I don't know. I could be completely wrong.
Well, there are some viewers who said they started menstruating at 10 and stuff like that. So, I mean, it is...
But the question
yes.
is, what's the percentage? Is it 50%? Is it
I think
not,
it's like a
10?
low percent. Right, something like that.
So just the age...
Oh, look.
What?
Burger and lobster. It's a huge menu there, Charles.
That's right. What if I don't like either?
Then you don't go here because that's all they got.
Burger, lobster, and garbage.
Well, you could get a burger or a lobster, or you get burger and lobster.
Let's see. We got the menu right here.
I'm telling you, it's basically burger, lobster,
Calamari, $15. That's not that expensive.
Lobster roll.
Burger and lobster combo, $45.
It's a gigantic burger.
It says here London burger, $16. Lobster roll, $23.
It used to be literally
these big burgers are more expensive, $31.
Right. They've expanded it because it used to be just literally lobster was like $25, burger was $25, and that was all they had, right? When it first opened, it was just lobster or burger, and they were both like $25, and that was it, right? $20, right?
The three main items.
How's it doing? Back from the pandemic?
Oh yeah.
It's a good restaurant. Take care, guys. It is a fun place if you want to have a burger or a lobster.
What if you're vegan?
You know what they got that I really like? They, instead of just butter, they have this garlic butter, some kind of sauce that's mostly butter, but it's just really good butter.
Is that like what the ladies were throwing at the people in the restaurant?
Oh, right, that French fry restaurant that they destroyed. I think I saw mugshots of those girls. Did they arrest them?
Probably not. They probably gave them book deals, movie deals.
This is a new sushi place.
It's a Botox injections.
No, next to that.
Oh.
Maki Kosaka. Top plant. Oh my
God. Eat
God.
as much as you want and then get some Botox to disguise it?
But wait a minute, is it vegan sushi? Because then I don't like it.
Well, we've got a menu right here.
Art, food, and plants. Now wait a minute. This is a unique place.
Look, hand roll, $38.
What's in it? Bluefin toro.
Tomato.
It's a lot of stuff. I don't like those rolls that have a gigantic amount of stuff in them.
Fried Chilean sea bass.
Isn't
that bad? Is that
Chilean sea bass is bad, and that's not an authentic Japanese place, I don't think. Or it's a Japanese place trying to be American.
we should have had food there in honor of Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, some people are saying Shinzo Abe was a globalist puppet, but those are the people who are saying they're glad he's dead. And you said he's anti-globalist, isn't he?
I thought he was conservative. I mean, they were attacking him because he was conservative. NPR was attacking him.
Well, he was friends with Trump.
And other conservatives. I mean,
Said Elon Musk.
20 years. Have you ever been in the Container Store?
I built my whole closet with stuff from Container
It's
Store.
nice.
I really like
it.
that
Yeah,
place.
It's good. I don't.
Oh,
But
all right. Now we're definitely on low battery, 10%. So we've got just a couple minutes.
we'll walk to. I mean, you can stop whenever you want, but I'm going to go over to 7th Avenue.
I will continue, obviously, with you, and we'll keep it going for just a little while.
Well, you tell me. Overturn Roe? Hell no. Newsflash.
It's a little too late. Well, all right. I think it's been an interesting and exciting technology test. You know, it's get to know the new equipment and understand its failure modes and how to keep it going and all that stuff. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This kid is loving the sunroof.
The standing on the seat is something I never allow.
But yeah, it's not a good thing. But you know, Charles, I want to thank everybody for watching today. No need for a director's cut because we had the phone who cried wolf and said I was out of data when in fact I apparently wasn't. So thanks for sticking around, everybody. Please become a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth. Elon Musk again. Or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. Great new episodes of Reverse CSI with David Hawkins, John Cullen Investigates, and High Dive with Lee Stranahan. We were talking about the origins of, here's Law 360, I read that all the time. The origins of fascism and communism, and I'm going to have to end the broadcast now so that we don't lose the battery and run it down to being absolutely tapped out. Thanks for being with us. Share this link with friends and family for real. That's one of the most helpful things anybody can do. Email this video, subscribe to the Sunday with Charles YouTube channel, subscribe to rumble.com/user/CS the truth. Subscribe to Crowdsource the Truth on Odyssey and Getter. Charles, we're getting like 800 views per video on Getter.
That's great.
It's become a great new source for us. So there's probably a real jackass in an RV that's going to try to sue them. Good luck with that, moron. Thanks for watching, everybody.